This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what's going on? Well, I know what's going on. What do you have? I don't even know what you have on tap for us today. So, so what we're gonna because we talked about the last time we recorded at the end. So here we are.
Yep, we got Transformers Volume 4, Conquer and Control. This is like a significant volume for the series because it is the last one being written by original creator Daniel Warren Johnson. Like Johnson is the extraordinary talented writer and artist, more so for the for the latter than the former, but he's basically the guy who relaunched the series to smashing sales success and strong critical acclaim and even an Eisner win like for that initial volume. It's like and for the subsequent volumes, it's like I think he's been doing a good job of laying out the ongoing conflicts between you know like the Decepticons and the Autobots like on Earth with some interesting twists bringing Cybertron to Earth space for a minute, having part of it fall off into the ocean and helping to set up the GI Joe series in the process. Um, like create other stuff Ultra Magnet giving Ultra Magnus PTSD from his treatment at the hands of of Shockwave, and also like Optimus Prime dealing with Spike's dad, Sparky, trying to stepping into the Matrix to revitalize him in the first volume, and now apparently giving him his own memories as well, and like it's like and also just showing two different factions of Decepticons, after Megatron has been MIA for most of the first first three volumes, Starscream and Shockwave vying for control throughout most of the third volume, and also trying to give Starscream more of a more nuanced backstory for which we technically get to see the payoff here like in a in a bit, but overall it's I've generally liked these first three volumes, and there's no doubt that that Johnson teed up this final volume in a really big way by having a Megatron show back up at the end in order to put an end to this Decepticon civil war. So basically, like end of volume three is was a big shit gets real moment for the series, and by all means that should have meant the series played out as a big epic struggle for all the marbles between both sides, with the good the bad guys getting their mojo back, the good guys on the back foot. But like so so yeah, this should by all means it should have been a lot of fun. As for why it didn't play out that way for me, well, I don't know. It's I don't think it was this is a complete misfire of a volume, but there's a lot of stuff that just didn't really click with me because it kind of felt that. But basically, it boils down to um Johnson trying to set up a big epic conflict, but not really pulling it off in the space that that he was given. And well, it would have worked better if he had been given one more issue, because the first issue of this volume is a flashback detailing time I think it seems like relatively early on in the Cybertron War, where Megatron was captured by an unknown force and tested um, in order to determine whether or not he was worthy of a great power. Now, I'm not the Transformers expert here, but John, can you tell me whether or not this power that Megatron was given, the ability to control other Transformers when he's in his alt mode, is this something that is actually new for the series, or has this always been part of his character?
Yeah, this is kind of something new for the series, so it's not something that I recognize from or even through definitely not through like the G1 cartoon. In the comics, I don't like the original Marvel comics. I don't remember it. Now I can be corrected on that, but I don't remember it there. or nor in the as far as I understand it, not even in the IDW ones has this come up. So this is a it's kind of a new concept, and it's also its origin is I'm almost positive does not show up anywhere else. That's a new concept as well.
Okay, so this the one like robot we see testing him and that he eventually like assumes control of at the end. This thing's new as well.
Like specifically, what are you referring to?
It's like he's being like when he's being tested. Like there's this gloating like robot with tentacles.
Yeah, so that's
O-
a quintesson.
Okay, okay. I had a feeling about that because it seemed like he was just weird enough to be one of those.
Yep. So
Okay,
and so in Transformers lore, the quintessons are the ones that created the Transformers. Um, and you know, it's kind of more of an outcropping. The first time we see that actually coming out is the Transformers movie. They introduced like the '86 animated movie. They introduced us to this concept, but just the quintesson part. The television cartoon actually came out and started talking about the origin was is they were the ones who created them as slave race. Um, so that's what they're drawing on. That they are the ultimate creators of the Transformers. So yeah, that's but you know the power that they're being that Megatron's given is yeah, that's I've not seen that particular characteristic of Megatron ever, especially not definitely not in the cartoon. And I've never seen it anywhere else.
okay.
So that's a new thing here, I think.
Okay, it's interesting, and especially now when you consider like how it also plays into Starscream's story, which I'll talk about more in a second. But also, one last thing before we move on, that voice that intercedes and and says that Megatron's like testing is stopped, and that he tells him to tells the Quintesson like to pick him up, so he can understand how it feels to have a spark under his heel. Any bets on whether or not that's Unicron speaking there?
I uh, I thought that, and that's all I can
It
say.
seems the obvious choice, or at least
Yeah, and I think I thought that. I have no proof of that yet because they did not give us enough detail in that. It's possible. That's what I'd say. It's where my thoughts went though. It was like, yeah, that's probably unicorn. Unicorn? Unicron. Yeah. Unicron. But um I'm not gonna put all my chips on that that bet. So
yeah. Okay, well, we'll see, and we may even get some payoff on like the Quintesson's involvement here because Volume 5 of Void Rivals is going to contain the Quintesson War. Stay tuned for that in 2026. So, but as for the rest of the volume proper, um, it basically like there's a lot of back and forth between between like the Autobots and Decepticons. With the Decepticons, basically getting their act together. It's like Megatron doing his whole like daddy's home and just like putting Starscream in line, showing Astro Train who the boss is, and just like getting his troops in order, and and sticking it to the Autobots, which as you'd expect. But I don't know. It's like I mean, yeah, I understand that you've got like this is meant to be like Decepticons getting their mojo back, but it also feels like, their momentum is being overplayed here because, I mean, not only do they like, score a big win against the Autobots after like after that initial battle at the Ark, but then we're also told that they just like, basically raise like the west coast of the United States, and it's like, and apparently like everyone like falls back to Chicago to make their last stand, which okay, really? I mean, we we're this is like a lot of stuff that we're being told and we don't actually get to see. It's like this big epic conflict, is playing out off panel, and we're only like just focusing on just this very specific bits of this. So like that that just felt weird and dramatically unsatisfying. And also, I mean, like, I like the idea of giving Ultra Magnus PTSD, but it also feels that, like, here, he overcomes it because the plot demands that he do, and that he be given, like, at least one big heroic moment, which, again, like, a lot of the big heroics, like, moments for the, Autobots involves, like, someone standing up, making a big thing, getting one good punch in, and then getting their ass beat in the next panel. Um, like Superion. I mean, I was surprised to see it. Oh wow, they revived a bunch of like Autobot flyers. Hey, that's cool. That's gonna make this into an actual fight. And then oh shit, they actually like turn into like their own combiner. Oh man, it's like it's just gonna get real. And then he gets up, flies away, gets shot by Megatron, and that's the end of his contributions to this volume. Yeah, it's like I said, there's a lot of this stuff happening, and there's also a lot of there's even a literal Deus ex machina toward the end of the volume that also plays into like Starscream's character arc here, which I can see what Johnson was going for here, because he basically wants to have Starscream be this like big tragic figure, like this dreamer. It's like who basically was like corrupted like by the war, and also directly by Megatron as well. But the thing is, I think Starscream is much better as this arrogant, loudmouth, sniveling, like bastard. It's like who just like talk. Like when he was like going on in the first one, like, oh, humans so fragile, so squishy. I mean, that's like like some real love to hate villainy right there. And I thought he pulled it off really well. But when you're trying to like add nuance to that, I think that there's a lot more work that's need to be done here, because I feel a lot more. I was a lot more entertained by Starscream in his high villainy mode than he is in his big my name is Ulchtar like moment
Yeah.
moment here. So and oh, and then there's also Shredhead, like Dan Johnson's big like original Transformer contribution to the series, first debuted in the previous volume, and gets to play a big moment at the end here when he basically shows up and almost single-handedly like it's like saves the day. Which, hey, I mean, I think that like Corday Corona like did a great job of interpreting what I assume was Johnson's base design, because John, I mean, Johnson's enough of a metalhead, I know, to like basically like his first major transform is basically the air airbrush is the van that you airbrush your badass metal fantasy image onto its side, and then you've got your badass sword that you use to like hack through all the and like enemy robots. I mean, yeah, it's a great design, but all of the but it's he's not really a proper character here. He's just kind of like that. I wouldn't say he's like a Gary Stu here, but he just feels like that guy who's like really like built up and meant to seem badass, and just does not really kind of deliver as a proper character yet, anyway. Because if he is built up, then the person doing the heavy lifting here is someone I am personally like like very confident is going to like at least do a good job. And that's Robert Kirkman, because like now like with Johnson moving on to like other projects that he has to wants to write and illustrate himself, and to that I say more power to you, man. It's like you like like the best stuff is you've done has been like what you've written and illustrated yourself. Everyone go buy Murder Falcon if you haven't already. And but that being said, I mean, you can all well like I look forward to seeing like everything you do to improve as an artist. You can definitely like stand to learn a few things from Kirkman, like because like Kirkman's just been like the much more solid writer over the years. What between his classic work on Walking Dead and Invincible, and all of his efforts to follow up on that success that haven't quite clicked in the same way, but have still been solid reads like Outcast, Oblivion Song, Firepower, and even Void Rivals as well. But the, but overall, it's like I think like the best thing about this volume is that it does a good job of like making me feel that hey, like I'm glad you're moving on to do what you like what you want to do, and and I want to see what I really want to see Robert Kirkman do what he does next, and I also feel that he can probably do a better job. Well, so there you go. But so John, I mean, do you have any strong feelings about this volume or
Um, um, yeah, it, it, um, it's good. Um,
okay?
and I enjoyed reading it. Um, I think um, it does have some interesting concepts in there. I think like what you were talking about with the whole, like Ultra Magnus and PTSD. I'm like, okay, I can get you there. Yeah, I also the whole you know who he's looking up at, Starscream here when he says my name is Ulchatar, right? So
Yeah, like it's Omega
he's
Supreme.
it's Omega Supreme, right? So um so I guess it's it's going to be and that's really kind of a big it's like oh well I guess nothing's
A
gonna
literal
happen.
Deus Ex Machina moment.
Yeah, it's sort of like yeah, so I am Deus Ex Machinas are kind of a tough one for me because whenever I see it happen, I'm like, well, did you paint yourself into a corner on purpose or what? Is there no other way to get out of this? Because that's usually when you employ one. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I've seen it in other, I think I saw this once in Deep Space Nine. I may have seen it twice. And I'm like, oh, okay. So and you do see it out there, and seeing it here, it's kind of like, uh, we're so many issues in now to the story. It's like it just feels like a little bit, a touch of a letdown. But um, but I don't think it's going to steal away from the plot. They may have something here, and one of the things I was thinking about is that the many universes of Transformers, we have the Armada Starscream, which is the series. Uh, let's see here. I think it happened around, during the 2000s. Armada did. Um, and I thought that it was interesting, but I kind of lost interest because it um, is just not a series I really wanted to like chase after. 2002, according to my sources here. But the um, the cartoon series itself kind of made uh, Starscream in this case. This is where Starscream, like a lot of people like that series, really like Starscream because he's not the same Starscream you remember. He
Ah,
is the Starscream that has the is if I understand remember it correctly because I did not see all of it, but has the tragic ending because he turns and he becomes an ally of them. But it's not also not unheard of. There is a second there is a second version of Starscream. I think that happened in the comics where he's actually, and I don't remember specifically. This is my kind of my gap in knowledge here, where Starscream is a part of a ruling council on the Cybertron that without the uh, basically which brung peace to Cybertron.
Uh,
So now that moves him out of kind of like the generation one thing that you and I like so much, and then kind of throws him into the new, like the new kind of interpretations or the more recent interpretation. And when I say recent, I mean in the last 25 years. That's so bizarre.
mhm.
But so, or 22 years. I'll say 22 years, just so it doesn't sound too bad. But um, yeah, so there's a couple of things there. One, the Armada series, and two, there are some of the storylines which I can't tell you specifically in the newer comics where he is a part of that effort. So
I
um,
think I remember hearing about those too. I think those are actually from like the latter half of like the IDW series, and like I said, that's something that I'd like to maybe I'd like to read at some point, but it's like there's also understand like there's just like, so much stuff. It's like just like IDW put out a metric ton of Transformers comics in their time to the point where they even ended they started like even after like doing like hundreds of issues in their like initial continuity, then they ended it and then started a new one before they lost the license a couple of years later.
yeah,
It's something that I wouldn't mind tackling at some point because I've heard like a lot of good things about it, but it's also just so much stuff, and it's also so out of print at this point too. So if you do have like copies of like all those IDW stuff, especially it's like the hardcover collections, which everything in a recommended reading order, hold on to those people.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But also, so
So,
I mean,
but I would
had
say, huh? Oh,
uh,
the one thing I do know is that Armada Starscream was extremely popular because of that. I mean, he makes friends with the kids and stuff. It's like, but this is not your grandpa's Starscream, okay?
mm.
So, not exactly, so, um,
It
and I
sounds like
hear
they
it's
also had a lot of space to do that because imagine Armada was like what like a 65 episode series at least or more
something
or
like that.
okay.
Yeah, they did have more space to deal with that, but you know, I believe that the whole like him against Megatron thing was still there, but the motivations were different as developed his character in that direction. And just to let you know, there was another series that was CG-ish that was called Transformers Prime. He's definitely his sniveling and like self. And that was the one, by the way, that was voiced by that one voice actor I was talking to you about before. I forgot his name already. Dang it, but he does it well. But
Mm.
yeah, he's like a conniving, evil, scheming kind of, star. The one you kind of probably like better.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's like and I also think, like, the problem here is that, Johnson did a really good job writing that sniveling, scheming side of Starscream really well, that
yes.
when he wants to try and give him more nuance, like, by giving him, like, a personality that's almost directly at odds with that, it's just kinda jarring, and
Yeah.
especially when you want it and that creates problems and you want to hinge his big character moment, in the end of volume 4 on that.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So yeah, I think overall the volume is good. I kind of like the whole. I like the character of Megatron when he's being tested. I think that by the quintessons and stuff. I think that's um, and there might be something else there, but again, with like maybe a Unicron, but not sure. Like I don't know how direction he's really taken that, but um, uh, and the whole Prime Matrix, Spike and his dad thing was kind of it's kind of interesting to me, but it's also kind of like, okay, well, they're rewriting some of the established stuff that you understood about the Matrix. So we'll see where they're gonna. We'll see how that gets developed in the future. We'll put it that way. So overall, I think the volume is kind of it's good. You should read it, everyone, because it will it you know we'll see where they pivot this out to. These stories. So
Hmm.
it seems like that there's nothing to really complain about. I think so.
Okay. Any feelings about Robert Kirkman taking over?
Well, let's see. I mean, yeah, sure. Let's see where we go with it. I suspect that the storylines will continue the way they are. I don't think we'll get. Maybe it'll be really awesome. Who knows? Maybe it'll up the game. You
Well,
know?
it's like all due respect to Jorge Corona, it's like as the artist, he does continues does like pretty great job working this volume. Dan Mora is taking over for the next 6 issues, and he is fantastic artist. And I am only like disappointed because it sounds like based on his comments like online, it sounds like he's may only just be doing these next 6 issues, which it's our loss. But if you like his work, he's still going to be joined at the hip at DC Comics, as he's just been doing all sorts of stuff over there, including their current Justice League series, as well as like various tie-ins to the DC KO event, including the Night Fight miniseries, where Batman fights a whole bunch of like evil alternate Batman. So there you go. So yeah, that's another reason I'm looking forward to this next run, because not just because like I'm optimistic about Kirkman, but he's got a hell of a artistic partner in taking over as well. So
Yeah, yeah. Should be interesting. Okay, cool. So, do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
well, I mean it's like since the whole reason we didn't talk about Void Rivals this time is because of logistics. But hey, new volume of Void Rivals is also be out by the time you're listening to this. And so I think that's like a safe bet as to what we're going to talk about next time. And the time after that, uh, if if everything works out, then we may be having the return of a special guest to talk about the concluding volume of a series we've been reading that came out last year. So that's all I can say at this point. So
All right. Well, keep us in suspense for that time. All right. We'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick, y'all.
later, everyone.